Hey friends, welcome to the Canyon Pathways podcast, where we invite you to live like a son and lead like a father. Canyon Pathways is a global community of men on the journey from the striving of servanthood to the freedom of sonship as we traverse the canyon that is midlife leadership. My name is Noel Bouché, and I'm the founder and part of the leadership team for this venture, and I'll be your guide throughout this podcast as we explore and discover what it means to live like a son so we can lead like a compassionate father. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the CP Pod. Glad to be with you. Eager to dive into our topic in this episode. We got two types of episodes here at the Canyon Pathways podcast. First up is a field note episode, which we got today. We're going to look at one of our field notes, which are short essays, things we're discovering out in the field about this journey into sonship. And then we've got conversation episodes over on the community side, where we take a little deeper look at that field note, but do it through conversation with Canyon Pathways brothers around the world who are bringing their wisdom and insight to us. And on the heels of this, we're going to have a great conversation episode with Luke Smith and Michael Perrin. You don't want to miss that. Check it out when it drops. Incredible leaders and insights, and they're going to dive even deeper into this topic that we're looking at today in this field note, which is authority. Authority is a pretty important topic in life. It's also one that is a conundrum for many of us. On the one hand, we as men, I think we as human beings, but especially at this stage in midlife leadership, we want authority. We want to be in control. We want to have autonomy of action. We want to be free from external constraints. We want to appear and experience having command over ourselves and over our environment. We want to have the sense of freedom that we believe authority will bring. Authority also comes up, though, as we're out about in the world. The inquiry is continually coming at us on whose authority, on what authority are you taking these actions? Are you making these claims? Are you asserting these privileges, these rights? Authority keeps popping up. And then, of course, there's just the times where, if we're honest with ourselves, we will admit that what we're really deep down looking for is an authority over us. We just want that as human beings. We want to, when the going gets rough, we want to feel protected by someone or something or some group or some entity or some institution that has the power and competency to protect us, to hear our claims, to respond to our needs and our petitions. And sometimes we just want someone to blame. Just want some place to cast all of the blame for the things that are going wrong in our lives. We humans are great complainers. We complain, we kvetch when we don't have authority. When we do have it, we find a new complaint. It's a continual cycle. And of course, that complaining and griping and grousing and kvetching is the opposite of gratitude, which is the will of God for us in this life, which is a representation, manifestation of joy, which is our strength. So we're caught in the middle. We want authority. We think it will bring us freedom when we have it. We're continually being asked by the world, even sometimes by ourselves, on what authority do we do, think, say, act the way we do. And then also, we just actually really do want authority deep down. Deep down, we want to be covered by someone who will vindicate us, by someone who will advocate for us, by someone who will just stave off the violence and anarchy and vicissitudes of this world. It's a constant theme throughout human history. We throw off the shackles of one tyrant, and soon after, the chaos and the violence and the uncertainties and the growing poverty and loss that the vacuum creates, we stand up another dictator in their place because we ultimately want to have some sense of stability, and we know that we can't create it for ourselves. We believe we can, and then time proves out the reality that we in some ways are helpless to do all the things we think we want to do in life by ourselves, solo, man in solitude against the world. So authority, complicated. We could go on dissecting this, but the way we're going to do it is go right to our field note right now. So let's jump in. We took a look at what is this word, not just the why of what's behind our desires and yearnings for it, but what is it actually? Why do we think we desire authority? Why do we, in fact, desire authority above us? Why do we turn to and claim certain people, entities, structures, systems as authorities? What is authority? That's what we look at in our field note. Let's jump right into it. Authority. To punish me for my contempt for authority, fate made me an authority myself. Albert Einstein. To be human is to have somewhere deep down a disdain for authority. In some of us, it manifests externally with frequency. Life is a continual sequence of collisions with people and parameters that we petulantly perceive to exist solely to annoy and antagonize us. For others, it's more of a slow simmer below the surface. We might go about our business, even in line with the dictates of an authority figure, all the while kvetching behind closed doors or venting under our breath. Like the elder sibling of the prodigal parable, a deep resentment festers toward the father, even as we diligently do our duty in keeping the estate running efficiently. Authority is to be obeyed, if not appreciated and enjoyed. A collective embodiment of this is society's love-hate relationship with the police of whatever jurisdiction, from time immemorial. While on the one hand, we citizens want someone out there to protect the peace from the vicissitudes of violence and anarchy, at the same time, we quietly curse the authorities when the long arm of the law finds us out for some infraction. Those authorities, it seems to our minds, are capriciously toying with us, if not downright hostile to our pursuit of happiness. Perhaps what lies beneath this is a sense, or more likely a fear, of powerlessness. An authority beyond us, above us, reminds us that we are not omnipotent. Indeed, it draws our insecure attention to the reality that we are dependent on others, including the goodwill of some who have more power in various contexts than we do. There's a scene in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings that captures this fear profoundly in print and on screen. As the Fellowship, with a small army in tow, approaches the Black Gates, a menacing ambassador, the mouth of Sauron, meets them with deception and scorn. Each of those in the company resisting the Dark Lord has been battling their own insecurities. Did I give wise counsel? Do I have what it takes to lead? Will I survive this? And the evil messenger seizes on each of those insecurities. Indeed, at the outset, he pierces their heroic but hesitant silence with this indicting inquiry. Is there any in this rout with authority to treat with me? The question pierced them because they were doubting whether they did. And many of us can relate to such a piercing probe. The self-doubt the Fellowship endured is familiar to us. To some degree, it is universal. Imposter syndrome reaches its peak in positions of leadership when the rigors of responsibility increase and intensify. Whether we have adequate authority to meet the challenge is constantly in question, and seeing ourselves as a worthy authority figure is difficult. We doubt our strength because we know our own weaknesses. We doubt our wisdom because we know our own foolishness. We doubt our right to lead because no one has truly authorized us through affirmation and affection, leaving us to scrape together credentials and cling to positions of influence. We do this, and we resist others' influence because we see authority as a means of control and security. We equate authority with a dictatorial-like domination. Perhaps, though, our equation is incorrect. A prima facie assessment of the word itself begins to alter our understanding straight away. At the root of the English term authority is the word author. When we think of positions of authority, titles like president, general, commander, officer come to mind. Author, not so much. the maxim that the pen is mightier than the sword notwithstanding. But as we dig deeper, more confounding truth emerges. The word author comes to us from the Latin term auctor, which means a promoter, a builder, an historian, a teacher, a father. Its literal meaning is, get this, one who causes to grow. Far from a position of control and towering, intimidating status, the essence of authority is the act of intimately connecting, supporting, uplifting others. More a gardener on his knees with hands in the dirt than an untouchable potentate high above the grime of daily life. Here, Tolkien's Middle-earth is again instructive. Perhaps one needs an author to understand authority in more ways than one. In his creation myth at the beginning of the Silmarillion, the creator, Eru, involves his first created beings, powerful archangel-like figures, in creation, declaring to them a mighty theme through music and inviting them to contribute to the theme in their own way. As the beauty and revelation progresses, the Lucifer-esque character begins to cloud the magnificent melody with divisive, discordant notes that create a despondent storm of sound among the others. Here, we would expect one in authority to offer rebuke and retribution, but far from it, the fictional creator weaves the sonic chaos back into a magnificent symphony with an ending even more beautiful than the first. He authored a revised, redemptive masterpiece. And so it is with the Father, who covers us after a fall, who invites us to participate in the unfolding story, who comes down into the garden to cause new things to grow, who provides what is needed for the growth to be sustained, who assures of the beauty of the conclusion even as the plot twists and thickens. When we live as sons of this Father, we experience the freedom, the flourishing of what he authors, what he causes to grow, even after all seems lost. We experience the authority of one who makes all things new. And when we live in that sonship, we can lead as fathers in that same authority because it has already been given to us, if only we will accept it. Behold, I have given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall hurt you. Luke 10:19. There's our field note on authority. And man, this was a fun one to write, just to sit with this concept. And three main things jumped out at me as we are sitting with it together today. The first one was the most fun for me, which is right there in the word itself. You know, sometimes these things get so obscure. That's one of the reasons we focus on language, not just because blessings and curses, life and death are in the power of the tongue and in the language, the words that we use and that have been used over us at various points in our life. It's not just that. It's also that sometimes we just say things and they lose their meaning. We just use language and we also lose their essence. And we need to come back to them, which is a theme here at Canyon Pathways, coming back, not just to the Father's table, but coming back to relationships, coming back to things that are already there, discovering, literally discovering things that have been buried. It's the same thing with language. And right here in the word authority is that word author. And it's easy to just kind of gloss over that because we have all these other things that come to mind when we think about authority. We think about control and power and autonomy and influence and freedom from constraint. And yet, author. It's not the position or the title of the person that we often think about when we think about one who has authority. Like the field note said, we think about commander, general, boss, jefe, czar, words like that. And here, right in the word authority itself, is hidden often, just hiding in plain sight, the word author. One who tells a story, by definition. One who, though we discovered from the Latin root, is actually more than just telling a story, but is promoting a narrative, building a tale, a story, which is bringing life, a historian, one who is weaving together facts and figures from the past so that we can understand the present. A teacher, and right there in the Latin definition of the word auctor, the Latin root is a father. So authority, fatherhood go together. But what is it? Is it dictatorial, domineering? No, no, not at all. It's one who causes to grow, one who is intimately connected, like a gardener, down in the soil, tenderly attending to the seed and to the shoot and to this plant that is going to bear fruit as it is watered and fertilized. It's a beautiful picture. I'm a writer. I like to write, so that is, brings me joy to think about, not just when I'm authoring something, I'm actually creating something to grow. I'm gardening in that way. I'm bringing forth life, but also when I'm walking in authority in life, when I'm walking in a position or a moment or a relationship or an endeavor or a venture where someone is looking to me for guidance, for direction, for covering and courage, that is what I'm doing. I'm actually participating in the telling of a story. And of course, in this case, it's a story that brings life. It's a story that brings ultimately salvation. That's what we've been invited to do. To author life is the essence of authority. It's a beautiful concept. And that leads to the next discovery for me, the next takeaway, which is that this Father, this God, who is creator and redeemer, and who loves us like sons as a father, is authoring a story that involves us as well as our story with him, our relationship, the tale of our journey with him, from the peaks, the valleys, over the hills and the dales, through the valley of shadow to the city on a hill. He's telling a story and he's weaving it together with us. And when things fall apart, they go sideways, he's redeeming. He's revising the story. He's not crumpling it up, tossing it away. He's not throwing it into the fire. He is coming near to his sons to revise, we might say, and redeem our story. He's making all things new. And third, that's what we're being invited into, not just to experience that, not just to move from living like a servant and hired hand to living like a son and an heir, to experience this Father fully, but also in that sonship, we're being invited to lead like him, to lead like a father to others, to have that authority in others' lives, to steward that authorship of their story, my spouse, my children, my colleagues, my employees, my congregants, my clients, my customers, even maybe my adversaries. I am being invited to walk in that same divine, life-giving authority that is weaving together a story, that's telling a tale, that is authoring, ultimately, salvation with this one who is God, who is Father, who is Son, who calls us friends and invites us into the same endeavors, the same tales, the same stories that he's authoring. If only we will accept it. If only we will return to the table. If only we will come to him, rest, receive, confess, repent, turn back to him. He will put on a new ring, a new robe, new sandals, or just embrace us and say, my son, you are always with me. All that I have is yours. He will author a new story for us every morning, new every day, from the rising of the sun till the setting of the same, so that his name will be praised in us and through us. Friends, hope you enjoyed our Field Note episode. Make sure to subscribe so you get all of our episodes when they drop, including our next episode where Luke Smith and Michael Perrin from our community are going to be doing a little deeper dive into this concept of authority, and you don't want to miss that. Check out the show notes for links, including a link to the Field Note, so you can read it and actually click through to see some of the scripture references, but sit with that Also a PDF with discussion questions if you want to use this episode for personal reflection or in small group meetings. Like I said, subscribe so you catch all the episodes as they drop as we continue to develop a language of sonship through this podcast. Thanks to the team at Maroon Harpoon for producing this episode and to our donors who make this venture possible. And as always, thank you for being a part of the Canyon Pathways community as we together live like sons and lead like fathers.